ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुक्तापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। Okay, so welcome to IBC Siksha. Chapter 13, verse number 18 is where we had stopped. We'll continue from there. So we are talking about the super soul.
Super soul.
Yeah, who is the knower of all the bodies, not
Yes.
just one body, but all the bodies.
Mm.
And he's far, he's near. He has senses, legs, ears everywhere, and at the same time he's situated in one place, that is Golok
Yes.
Vrindavan. Hmm.
Mm.
So what he doesn't have, he is Nirgun and Nirakar.
Mm.
Nirgun and Nirakar means he's without material qualities. He's without material form. He's having spiritual form. Any of his senses can work as any other sense. He can walk through his eyes. He can talk through his nose, and like that. Anything can
Mm.
happen anywhere.
Mm.
When he impregnates the material energy with all the living beings, he just has to see. He just has to watch,
Mm.
and that is enough. You see?
Yes. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's get ahead with. Somebody read this translation.
Yes,
18.
Prabhuji. Shall I read?
Yeah, yeah.
Hare Krishna. He is the source of light in all luminous objects. He is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. He is knowledge. He is the object of knowledge and he is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart.
He's situated in everyone's heart. He's the object of knowledge.
Yeah.
He's the goal
Mm.
of knowledge. So when their knowledge is talked here is about spiritual knowledge. Okay.
Mm.
Even from the material knowledge, we have to come to this platform.
Mm.
Okay. When we are learning physics, chemistry, mathematics, finance, astrology, and medical and all that, we should come to the conclusion that the Supreme Lord is governing everything.
Mm.
The laws of gravitation, the laws of physics, the laws of chemistry, the mathematical laws, the finance laws,
Mm.
everything is made by the supreme lawmaker Krishna.
Mm.
So even from the perspective of material knowledge, we have to come to the same conclusion that Krishna is the goal of knowledge.
Mm. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hmm?
Yes,
Okay.
Prabhuji.
Somehow our modern education doesn't do that.
Mhm.
The goal is that you keep discovering, and silently ignore God.
Mhm.
Never come to this conclusion that there is Supreme Lord, and don't come to that conclusion. There was once a Nobel Prize winner who said like this, that I started in search of God, but I ended up with neutrons, protons, and
The
uh,
electrons.
electrons. So yeah, okay. So in the purport, let's read this
Yes.
section. Go ahead.
He is situated in everyone's heart as a supreme controller. The supreme has legs and hands, distributed everywhere, and this cannot be said of the individual soul. Therefore, that there are two knowers of the field of activity. The individual soul and the super soul must be admitted. One's hand and legs are distributed locally, but Krishna's hands and legs are distributed everywhere. This is confirmed in the
Shvetashara Upanishad.
Upanishad 3.17. Sarvasya Prabhum
Isanam Sarvasya
Saranam
Sharanam Brihat.
Saranam Prabhat. That Supreme Personality of Godhead, Super Soul, and is the Prabhu or Master of all living entities. Therefore, he is the ultimate shelter of all living entities. So there is no denying the fact that the Supreme Soul and the individual soul are always different.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
So, yeah. So one's hands and legs are distributed locally, but Krishna's hands and legs are distributed everywhere.
Everywhere.
And he's the shelter of all living beings. This is very important point. He's the shelter of all living. Meaning, the prime minister, the president is the shelter of all the citizens, right? Right? Same way, the Supreme Lord, Krishna, is the shelter of all living beings. Therefore, where the living beings should go back? To the shelter, right?
Yes,
The
Prabhuji.
Supreme Lord, yeah. So unless we understand, oh, he's the shelter, we won't appreciate this whole Krishna conscious process and surrendering to the Lord. We won't appreciate that. So we need to understand this shelter thing, very important. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in the 5th chapter, you must have read, very famous verse, the very last verse of.
Prabhuji, Saroja Mataji is not able to connect. She's saying.
She's not able to connect. Just let me.
No, she joined Mataji.
Yes, join, no?
Yeah.
Well, again it is going away things.
Oh, okay.
She has gone out.
Let her try again, because
No,
I
now
think
she's inside. I mean, she's
yeah, I
inside.
think
Okay,
the
okay.
issue is with on her side. Okay, so in Karma Yoga chapter, Action in Krishna Consciousness, very famous verse, Krishna himself says, 5.29, Bhoktaram Yagatapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Suruhit Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. Now, Krishna introduces himself in a very peculiar way. He says he is the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices. Anything anybody sacrifices, give taxes and all that, he says he's the ultimate beneficiary. Everything is going to him. And all austerities, the hard work everybody is doing, is all for Krishna.
Krishna.
Okay. And he says the Supreme Lord of all planets, Sun, Moon, Jupiter, Saturn, everything, stars, and demigods, Indra, Varuna, Vayu, Brahma, Shiva. Okay, so what is he saying? He's saying, I am the enjoyer and I am the proprietor. Okay, in our material world, we see many people who are enjoyer and proprietors, right? We work under them. Big companies, right? We work under them. Big shops, malls, we work under them, right? So our experience, how is our experience with this material masters? How is our experience with this material masters? Can we list down? Prabhuji, start. Okay, one of the material master at home is Mataji. Will think, oh, okay, at home nobody's there, but mother-in-law is there, right? Don't forget mother-in-law. So
Husband.
how is the experience?
Prabhuji, experience is very bad.
Experience is very bad experience. Okay. Second, tell more. Prabhuji, speak. Company bosses, government.
Selfish.
Huh?
Selfish. Selfish.
Selfish. Okay.
Jealous.
Jealous. Are they friendly?
No.
No.
Not at all.
Yeah,
Not.
most of the time we find it they are not so friendly. That is there.
I mean that corporate friendliness is there, which is like.
Oh, it's only till when there is no layoff. Once the layoff
He will
Yes,
happens,
get
yes,
then
yes.
the
Yeah, yeah, that's
and
right.
most importantly, they are exploitative.
Right.
till they
Exploitative.
get the work done.
Just get the work done till that point. Thank you, and then done. Okay, they are exploitative. So basically the experience of material master is bad. It is not so happiness, right?
Yeah.
And they are not well wishing. They are unfriendly and all that. Now Krishna is saying the same thing. I am the ultimate beneficiary of sacrifice or planets, demigods. Now one may think, oh, is he a similar like this material master?
Mm.
No.
How he says no to that?
He is a
He
well
is very
wisher.
merciful. He wants to help the fallen souls.
He is well wisher
Yeah.
ultimately.
So
He's well
he
wisher.
he he says, I am benefactor and well wisher of all living entities. Surhidam sarva bhutanam. So that is the difference between Krishna as a master and the material masters bosses that we have. Krishna also enjoys, but the material masters are never friendly. They are never suru rhythm. They are dur rhythm.
Yes.
But Krishna says, I am suhridayam, sarva bhutanam, and one who understands attains peace. Now, so let's say our material masters, if we do our job, if we fail in our job,
He will kick us out.
what is the result?
Yeah.
He will kick us out. Okay, good.
Yes, kick us out.
Okay, now we will take Krishna's example. Okay, we know Krishna is supreme.
Yes.
Okay, supreme master, let's put it. Okay, when Krishna is supreme. Okay, now there is an instance in Ramayana where a bird died. What was the name of the bird?
Jatayu.
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 Jatayu,
Okay, what was his job?
he was to take care of Sita,
Not care, he was to rescue Sita.
Yeah.
rescue Sita.
Huh.
Yeah.
Did he did he succeed or fail?
Fail.
Failed.
Failed. How did Lord Ram respond to him?
He was
He.
so
Rama was
merciful.
very
So
much happy
merciful.
with his
He
service.
was grateful.
Grateful,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
He made him his like father and
He was
gave
pleased.
him a
He
father
was
position.
pleased with him. But you
And
see, he didn't kick and say, Jatayu, you failure. You failed in this job that you had taken. Huh? He didn't say that.
Rama, actually, he did his last
And
rites also.
therefore, Krishna is friend. What did Lord Ram do to Jatayu? He sent
He
him back
cremate,
home, back to Godhead.
yeah,
Yeah.
he went to
he
Godhead.
cremated him.
Cremated him back home, back to Godhead. Yes.
Godhead.
Now, Jatayu is which kind of bird?
He's a king,
No, no.
king of all birds.
No. Okay,
Like
Gar-
fine.
eagle,
Like
like
eagle. Yeah, but like eagle. Like eagle.
like
Eagle is
I mean, very
Garuda.
bad as a meat eater or
What is the exact word?
he's a vulture, right?
Yes,
He's
he's
not
a vulture.
vulture.
What do vultures eat?
Eat
Flesh,
all
flesh
non-veg.
of the dead
Dead,
bodies.
dead
Dead
bodies.
animals. Dead animals.
Okay. Dead bodies, do they smell good?
No.
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 Yeah, non-vegetarian people, it smells good.
Smell
Yeah.
bad.
So, Jatayu as a bird was eating dead bodies. So, do you think he was very good smelling person?
No.
No.
He was like, I mean, he had terrible face also.
Right.
Hmm.
Very fearful. But Lord Ram didn't care for anything. Even for his failed job, he became so pleased with him that directly he gave him promotion.
Prabhuji, he kept him on his lap and then he
Yeah,
patted
yes.
Embarrassed him.
So how kind our master is.
him.
Even for a failed job, he promotes. And
Yes.
look at our material masters.
Hmm.
For a failed job, what happens? They kick us out.
He cut
Even
out.
even for the best performer, we
Even for
heard
the best
recently
performance,
he was kicked out.
so okay. So yeah, this is the difference, and Krishna makes it very clear when he says this, that he is the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities. Okay,
Hmm.
we can
Okay.
take more examples on this topic. We took from Lord Ram's. We can take from Krishna and all that.
Putana.
Putana, yeah, Putana is another example. Actually, Putana didn't do any job only.
No,
Yeah,
I
he
but he
know.
No
got
job.
actually he tried defeating master
liberated.
only.
She was liberated.
It was a false job
Yeah, false
of
job.
motherhood,
Hmm.
meaning she came like a thief,
Yeah, she came like
disguised.
a thief.
She
Back,
changed
Dressed
herself
up
into a
like
beautiful
so
backstabbing
lady.
so
master.
nicely, like master.
Backstabbing,
Backstabbing
backstabbing master.
master only. Yeah.
Meaning her job was not failure, but it was, disguised false job of motherhood.
Yes.
But Krishna was pleased,
Hmm.
and then he gave that position to her
Moksha.
back home, back to God.
Yes.
Blessed him,
Yeah.
sent her to
Yes.
she was liberated also.
Right.
Sent
She
her
was
to God.
liberated and all that. So, yeah. So Krishna says his friend, right? We see
Hmm.
for a failed job he is promoting.
Even
For
when
even a false
after
job, which
Prabhuji, even
actually,
after she died, also they cut into few pieces. She was smelling that perfume was coming out from her body. Yeah.
yes, true.
Yeah.
We were talking about Jatayu. He was not smelling good. He was smelling
Yeah.
bad. But after touch of Lord Ram, he also started smelling
Was
good.
smelling good.
Good.
Yes,
Huh.
correct.
Hmm. Actually, in Bhagavatam, right,
Hmm.
there is this story of Rishabh Dev. Have you heard about Rishabh Dev?
No,
Yes.
Yes,
Prabhuji.
I have heard, but I don't remember now exactly.
I think sixth canto it is this story.
So Rishabh Dev's son was Bharata, on whom
Hmm.
um, the earth, this India is named Rishabh Dev.
Hmm.
Okay, and he had 100 sons,
Hmm.
and he left after Bharat Maharaj became elder. I mean young, and then he gave the kingdom to Bharat Maharaj to rule, and he left,
Hmm.
and he started living like a ascetic,
Hmm.
completely ignoring the externals.
Hmm.
So people used to think that he's a mad person,
Okay.
but he was Rishabh Dev, the Supreme Lord,
Hmm.
incarnation of the Supreme Lord.
Okay,
So
Rishabh Dev. Incarnation.
he used to do things little crazily,
Hmm.
that he used to pass stool and
Hmm.
sit on it.
Oh.
Yeah. So people thought they were so crazy, so crazy. But
Hmm.
the smell that came from the stool was so beautiful, and it
Hmm.
spread in miles in all directions.
Oh.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that is the master. Such is our master. He's well-wishing master.
Hmm.
Even from his body, anything comes out. Generally it should be bad smelling, but it comes good smelling.
Hmm.
Okay. So we can talk
Yes.
more. Like you can talk, Varadev.
Hmm.
Varadev is boar avatar.
Or Rata, yeah.
Yeah, generally a boar is not a very attractive boar, right? But
Hmm.
Varadev was very attractive.
Hmm.
Everyone was attracted to him. So anyway, uh, let's go further. We read this. Okay. Text number 19. So point was that if we understand he's the shelter and his friend, then we want to go to him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why we have to hear about Krishna. And when we hear about Krishna, oh, he's so nice, then we really want to go to him, right? Like why people want to gossip about actor and actresses? Why? Because they think that they are very good.
Yes, in the movies.
They think. But when they hear about the gossip of what they did and all that, then it becomes very distasteful, right? But
Yes,
still they
yes.
have hope against hope. And still people go after them and say, okay, this is how he is and how is that, how she is and all that. No? Why? Because they exhibit one quality of Krishna, that is beauty. Krishna has 6 qualities. Bhaga, he's a Bhagavan. Bhaga means Bhagwan. He has 6 qualities. So even one quality anybody exhibits, na, one can become attractive in this world. Bhagavana, 6 qualities. First is all beauty. Second is all strength.
And
Third is
fame. Fame.
all knowledge.
All knowledge.
Fourth is
All fame.
what?
Fame.
All
All
famous.
fame.
Fame. Famous. Fame. Fame.
Yeah.
All fame. Fifth is all renunciation. We are missing one.
Yes. Beauty, strength, knowledge.
Still knowledge. Fame. Um,
All
Wealth.
opulence.
Wealth.
All
No,
opulence.
6 opulences:
in that
beauty,
richness,
strength,
all richness.
knowledge, fame, and
Richness.
Beauty.
all riches. All riches.
Yeah.
No, not riches. I think. Strength and knowledge, pronunciation. One more.
He is richest of all riches.
Yeah,
Riches.
true. Riches is right.
And maybe different word was there, but
Yeah, that word is not coming out.
yes. For richness is
Omnipotent.
Um, yeah. So
Omnipotent.
beauty, strength, knowledge, fame, renunciation.
Omnipotent, no, Prabhuji?
no,
Okay.
wealth,
That's
wealth.
all
All
wealth.
riches.
Yes, all
Wealth,
All
wealth.
wealth.
All wealth. Yeah.
Riches is wealth.
Okay. So these are 6 qualities which Krishna has in completeness, in totality, in unlimited quantity. Anybody has even one of them quality, even a little bit, becomes attractive. Like beauty, actor, actresses; strength, sportsperson; knowledge, professors; financial, and fame, politicians; renunciations, sadhus; wealth, rich people, big businessmen. Even one thing they have, it becomes very attractive, right? So what to
Yes.
speak of Krishna, who has all 6 of
All.
them in unlimited quantity, and therefore we have to go to Krishna. We are all looking for this actually. We are all looking for it. We don't get it, or we sometimes get only little of everything. Yeah, but when we get Krishna, we get everything, and we'll be completely satisfied with Krishna. That's why we'll be satisfied with Krishna, right?
Yes,
Sometimes
Prabhuji.
husbands are thinking, oh, if I had some wealth. Wife is thinking, if I had some wealth, some beauty, right? So many people think one of the other. Everything is coming from Krishna, and when we go to Krishna, then we get everything. Okay. So yeah, text 19. Yeah, somebody read.
Shall I read, Prabhuji?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Purport I have to read or from translation?
Translation.
Thus, the field of activities, the body, knowledge, and the knowable have been summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand this thoroughly and thus attain to my nature.
Yeah.
For
See, only devotees can understand this.
Mm.
We are reading, right? Why devotees can understand? Because we saw that even Krishna showed his universal form to Duryodhan, but Duryodhan was like, no,
He is not
I'm
able
not
to understand.
interested in this,
Mm.
right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So,
Vadakunde.
yeah. So there is a very nice story. No? We have heard this thing.
But Bhishma, Vidur, and everybody,
They were devotees.
devotees. So they
See,
were
the
all.
devotee's fate is like this. There is a nice story where a cobbler, he asked Narad Muni, what was my Lord Narayan doing?
Mm.
And then Narad Muni says, I will tell you after I visit him. And the same
Mm.
question was asked by another person,
Brahma.
Brahmana or someone. So when he goes there to Narayan and he says, Narayan, these two devotees asked me this question, what are you doing? So then Narayan says, okay, tell them this, that I was putting an elephant in the eye of a needle.
Mm.
And when Narad Muni says the same thing to cobbler, the cobbler becomes very happy and he says, wow,
Mm.
my Lord can do such a thing, such an amazing thing. And he has done it because he can put a seed, a tree in the seed, right? A whole big tree, banyan tree in a small seed. He can do this very, very nicely. And when the same answer he gives, Narad Muni gives to the Brahmana who was puffed up of his knowledge, he says, how is this possible? It is not possible. How can
Mm.
you put elephant in an eye of a needle? The eye of a needle is small, elephant is so big. I don't think. So the reason is the Brahmana didn't had faith
Mm.
that the Lord is all beautiful, all strength, all fame. But the cobbler had this faith and he had love for Krishna, so he could easily understand. And Krishna is saying the same thing that only my devotees can understand.
Mm.
Okay, it's 13.19 now. We'll just go there. 13.19.
This is fifth, bro. This is okay.
No, yeah.
Okay.
इति क्षेत्रं तथा ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं चोक्तं समासतः मद bhaktya. See, Krishna very specifically uses the word bhakta. He doesn't confuse it. So even acharyas are not translating it wrongly. Right? Krishna is saying openly, mad bhakta etad vijnana mat bhavya upapadyate. Only my bhaktas can understand. This is a very important thing because Bhagavad Gita, it is there everywhere. 700 editions and 700 editions, but
Mm.
only a bhakta's edition will make miracles and make other readers bhakta. Once Prabhupada went to a seminar on Bhagavad Gita. So, they invited him. Your Bhagavad Gita is distributing so nicely around the world. So you also come. So Prabhupada said, okay. When they went there in the hall, they saw only a lamp. That's it.
Oh, nobody was there.
And the organizers were there and audience was there.
Okay.
Only a lamp was there. And the whole purpose was you lit on the lamp and that's it. And then after that, start your Bhagavad Gita lectures like that.
Mm.
So Prabhupada said, we are talking on Gita. Who spoke Gita? Krishna. And Krishna says in Gita that Sarva Dharmam Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. So we have to surrender to Krishna.
Mm.
Yes, we have to surrender to Krishna.
Yes.
So Krishna is the goal of Bhagavad Gita. So we should worship him. Why we are worshipping this lamp? This lamp should be offered to Krishna.
Mm.
And there is no picture of Krishna here.
Correct.
You are missing the whole point. This is what Prabhupada said in that seminar. So Bhagavad Gita is an open secret. Open secret means everyone can see it,
See it and
but not everyone can understand it.
understand.
Who can understand it? Mad
Only the
Bhakta.
devotees.
Only devotees can. So that's why we will if we try to preach to somebody who's not a bhakta, right, then we will always find very difficult to convince that person, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So what is the solution for that?
Give prasadam.
Yeah, we give prasadam. Or
Mhm.
and we give him the holy name
Yes, ma'am.
without telling the glories of the holy name.
Yeah.
Okay, then we should leave that person on his own with the prasadam and the holy name, and then Krishna, he will make this magic work, miracle, huh? It
Yes,
may
ma'am.
take one lifetime, it may take few days, it may take few months, or it may take one lifetime, two lifetime, three lifetime, but that soul is not going to go away anywhere. He is going to come back to Krishna.
Mhm.
So we should have that faith. Okay, read this highlighted thing, please.
Shall I continue?
Yeah, or you or somebody wants to read, they can try.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I will
Shall I
read.
read, Prabhuji?
Okay, okay. So, yeah, read. Somebody read.
The
The
Lord,
Lord has described.
Okay, Mataji, you read, and after that, for next reading, the other Prabhuji or
Okay.
Mataji will read.
Okay, I'll continue. The Lord has described in the summary the body, knowledge, and the knowable. The knowledge is of three things: the knower, the knowable, and the process of knowing. Combined, these are called Vijnana, or the science of knowledge. Perfect knowledge can be understood by the unalloyed devotees of the Lord directly. Others are unable to understand.
Yeah,
Should
others
I
are
read
unable.
further?
Wait. Okay, same thing. Okay, read text 20. Somebody else read text 20. Someone else.
Shall I continue,
Many men
Prabhuji?
One who has not read. I said for this one.
Hare Krishna, I'll read Prabhuji.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
I'll read from Material Nature.
Yeah, translation.
Translation. The material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformation and the modes of matter are product of material nature. Purport. By the
Okay.
knowledge given in this
Wait, the
chapter,
living entity
yeah.
is beginningless because there is no time in spiritual world, na? It is eternal time. So there is no time zero in the spiritual world. There is no time zero in the spiritual world.
So how that days and all will be formed, Prabhuji, there in spiritual world? Then
Uh,
how will they know that today is Saturday or Sunday or Monday or Tuesday?
Such thing is not there.
Okay, nothing is there.
Meaning the days and all this are there,
Hmm.
but the time is eternal. Okay,
Okay.
in this material world, our present is small, right? And future
Hmm.
and past is big.
Hmm.
In the spiritual world, the present is big and the future and past is small.
Okay.
Okay, now you understand?
Yes, Prabhuji.
It is difficult to understand, but just like future and past here is like very very small. It is shanik, gone.
Hmm. Hmm.
The future also comes and goes, and our present is very small. But in the spiritual, the present becomes bigger, 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 and it never kinds of end. Now, how is that experience? We cannot say in words, but this is what the Shastras say. It is eternal time. So, this is what it means. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Mataji, continue with this highlighted.
Material nature was absorbed in the supreme personality of Godhead Mahavishnu, and when it was required, it was manifested by the agency of Mahat Tattva. Similarly, the living entities are also in him, and because they are conditioned, they are adverse to serving the Supreme Lord. Thus, they are not allowed to enter into the spiritual sky. But with the coming forth of material nature, these living entities are again given a chance to act in the material world and prepare themselves to enter into the spiritual world. That is the That is the mystery of the material creation. Actually, the living entity is originally the spiritual part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, but due to his rebellious nature, he is conditioned within material nature. It really does not matter how these living entities are superior entities or the Supreme Lord have come in contact with material nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead knows, however, how and why this actually took place.
Yeah. So yesterday we were talking about Mahavishnu and how the universe comes out and living entities. Then he impregnates in the Mad Tattva, which is yeah, and then you get bodies and all that. So yeah, yesterday we read this. Okay. Okay. Now text number 21. Someone else read who has not read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Can I?
Yeah, yeah. You have not read, na?
Today I have not read.
Okay, go ahead.
Translation. Nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various sufferings and enjoyments in this world.
Yeah, stop. So the living entity, the most important point is the second line. The living entity is the cause of various suffering and enjoyment in this world. We are the cause of our suffering and we are the cause of our enjoyment. Yeah. So it's very simple to understand because the karma that we perform gives us the result, right? If somebody slaps a policeman, then
Will
definitely
be
the
put in
suffering
the
is
jail.
going to come, right?
Will be put in the jail for.
So it's like that. The karma is like that. Okay, go ahead. Read the purport.
Purport. The different manifestations of body and senses among the living entities are due to material nature. There are 84 lakhs different species of life, and these varieties are creations of the material nature. They arise from the different sensual pleasures of the living entity, who thus desires to live in this body or that. When he is put into different bodies, he enjoys different kinds of happiness and distress. His material happiness and distress are due to his body and not to himself as he is. In his original state, there is no doubt of enjoyment. Therefore, that is his real state. Because of the desire to lord it over material nature, he is in the material world. In the spiritual world, there is no such thing. The spiritual world is pure, but in the material world, everyone is struggling hard to acquire different kinds of pleasures for the body.
No, stop. So there are 8.4 million or 84 lakh species, and the reason for that is there are so many desires. So to cover all those desires, Krishna gives these many bodies, and the living entity goes into it like residential building. He goes and stays, and he tries to be happy. Today not this hotel, so next hotel, so third hotel, fourth hotel, like that. Finally, when the living entity understands that this hotels is not so enjoying, let me go back to home. Then he go back to his spiritual world. Okay. Yeah. Read this highlighted one.
According to one's desires and activities, material nature places one in various residential quarters. The being himself is the cause of his attaining such residential quarters and his attendant enjoyment or suffering. Once placed in some particular kind of body, he comes under the control of nature because the body, being matter, acts according to the laws of nature. At that time, the living entity has no power to change the law. Suppose an entity is put into the body of a dog. As soon as he is put into the body of a dog, he must act like a dog. He cannot act otherwise. And if the living entity is put into the body of Prabhuji, can you scroll?
So here, the point is that we go into various residential quarters.
Hmm.
Now, in that quarters, if it is like a dog-like quarter, then we have to live like that, right?
Yes.
So it's like in a train, if you get a ticket in a general bogie, then you
Hmm.
have to live like that, no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Crowded place. If you
Crowded one.
get in sleeper, there is no AC, nothing, but it is little comfortable. But if you get
Hmm.
in AC third class, AC second class, AC first class.
It's very, very comfortable.
It is very comfortable, right? So in that quarters, we have to act the way that thing is, you know. So if you're
in,
given
AC
a body of
in
a dog, then we have to act like a dog.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Anyone?
bro. In first class also, we cannot act like a general class people.
Yes.
There is a
All right.
restriction.
Yes. Good. Good. Okay. Go ahead. Continue, Mati.
And if the living entity is put into the body of a hog, then he is forced to eat stool and act like a hog. Similarly, if the living entity is put into the body of a demigod, he must act according to his body. This is the law of nature. But in all circumstances, the super soul is with the individual soul. That is explained in the Vedas, Mukunda Upanishad 3.1.1 as follows: Dva Suparna Sayuja
Sayujas.
Sakayah.
Hmm.
The Supreme Lord is so kind upon the living entity that he always accompanies the individual soul and in all circumstances is present as the super soul or Paramatma.
Yeah. So you made the point that, you know, if you're put into first class, then you cannot act like third class. So if you're put in the body of a demigod and if you act like a third class, then what happens?
Next life.
That's your will be
The
put
person
down.
falls down from the Swargaloka.
Yeah, will be put
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. So we have many instances that in the Shastras, you know, that they do something wrong in the Swargaloka, then they fall down.
Mm.
Okay. But
So it
for
is
a
better to go
devotee,
to
right? A
Krishna Loka.
devotee doesn't care where he is.
It is better to go to Krishna Loka and stay there with Krishna.
Yeah. But a devotee doesn't care whether which residential quarter he will get.
Mm.
Hmm?
Yes.
In
Yes.
any residential quarter, he will put out his bead bag and chant. Right?
He will do satsanga.
He will do satsang and, you know,
And then
the food also he will
vacation
order,
Maha.
which is without onion garlic, offer it to Lord. Whether he's in general bogie or first class or second class or third class, right?
Yes.
Huh? So devotee's life is great. Okay. Text 22. Someone who didn't read yet.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Go ahead.
The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species.
Yeah. So whatever residential quarter you get some good and evil, right?
Mm.
So even if you get first class AC, what is the evil there?
You can't be just like in a general compartment.
Okay, that is one point. Another point.
Even it becomes too cold, we need to cover and sit there.
Yeah.
We
True,
have to
true,
cover
true.
ourselves.
Yeah, it's sometimes you got too cold, you know. In the summer, you have to use the blanket, thick blanket,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So there is distress, even in first class. Okay, it may be nice, but there is distress. Okay, read this highlighted.
How he is put into such different bodies is explained here. It is due to association with the different modes of nature. One has to rise, therefore, above the three material modes and become situated in the transcendental position that is called Krishna consciousness. Unless one is situated in Krishna consciousness, his material consciousness will oblige him
Oblige.
to
Oblige him.
Oblige him.
oblige him to transfer from one body to another because he has material desires since time immemorial. But he has to change that conception. That change can be effected only by hearing from authoritative sources. The best example is here. Arjuna is hearing the signs of God from Krishna. The living entity, if he submits to this hearing process, will lose his long cherished desire to dominate material nature and gradually and proper,
Proportionately.
proportionately as he reduces his long desire to dominate. He comes to enjoy spiritual happiness. In a Vedic mantra, it is said that As he becomes learned in association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he proportionately relishes his eternal blissful life.
Okay. So, how to get out of this situation? We have to hear about Krishna. And just like Arjuna is hearing from Krishna Bhagavad Gita, we have to hear Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then we understand, oh, Krishna is so nice. He is the enjoyer, he is the proprietor, and he is the best friend of all. Therefore, I want to be with such a rich friend. Everyone wants a rich friend, right?
Yes.
So Krishna is that true rich friend. Okay? Krishna is true rich friend. But we should not misbehave with him. That is the only condition. We should also be friendly to him. Yeah. Next, read someone else.
Nobody is reading, then I will read, Prabhuji. Shall I?
Okay.
Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the Supreme Proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as a super soul.
Yeah. So one will think, that the super soul and the soul are same. But here Krishna makes it different. He says they are different. Okay. How? The super soul is the overseer and the permitter. So if he is the permitter, then he is superior to the individual soul, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how the super soul and the soul are one in quality, but not in quantity, and not even in what you say,
Experience
action.
also.
Yeah, not even in action they are equal.
Yeah.
One is a
Yes.
permitter, and other one is a
Receiver.
permission seeker,
Yeah.
right? One is a permitter, other one is a permission seeker. So if you go back to our PPT, so here the super soul wants to, the soul wants to do something. He has control, right? But does he has ultimate control?
No.
No.
It is controlled by a Lord.
The supreme lord is allowing him to use this machine. He can take this machine away from him, or he can give this machine, right? So just like, person may have excavator, and he may be able to dig, but he needs the permission of the owner, right? He needs to have proper authority to dig it and all that. He just cannot go and dig anywhere. So Krishna is the overseer, and he's seeing, okay, is he doing the proper work or not? And he's the permitter. He's giving permission. Okay, you can do this, you can do that, no problem. Okay, this thing is wrong, but if you do this, you will be punished. But still the soul says, no, I want to do this thing, even if I get punished. And then he gets punished. So yeah, that's the role of the soul, super soul. Somebody continue reading the
The,
highlighted.
the monist philosophers take the knower of the body to be one. They think that there is no difference between the super soul and the individual soul. To clarify this, the Lord says that He is represented as the Paramatma in every body. He is different from the individual soul. He is para, transcendental. The individual soul enjoys the activities of a particular field, but the super soul is present not as finite enjoyer, nor as one taking part in bodily activities, but as a witness overseer, permitter, and the supreme enjoyer. His name is Paramatma, not Atma, and he is a transcendental. It is distinctly clear that the Atma and Paramatma are different. The super soul, the Paramatma, has legs and hands everywhere, but the individual soul does not. And because the Paramatma is the Supreme Lord, he is present within to sanction the individual soul's desiring material enjoyment. Without the sanction of the super soul, the individual soul cannot do anything. The individual is Gupta, or the sustained, and the Lord is bhakti,
Bhokta.
bhokta, bhokta or the maintainer. There are innumerable living entities, and he is staying in them as a friend.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
So the individual soul is bhukta.
Hmm.
We in Hindi may say na
Ah.
bhuta. What is that?
Bhogi.
Bhogi नहीं भुगतने वाला.
हाँ भुगतने वाला.
Bhugatni.
And Krishna is bhokta.
Hmm.
So individual soul is kind of sufferer only, and Krishna is the enjoyer. But if the individual soul serves the Lord and gets his association, then he also enjoys. Okay, he also enjoys. So yeah, there is a class of philosophers who try to make soul and super soul equal, but
It is
they are
not
equal only in quality, not in
not
quantity,
quantity.
not in action or superiority. Superiority, super soul. That's why Param Atma. Param. Param means
Transcendental.
superior, right? Topmost. But Atma is never said Param. It is just said Atma. Hmm? Okay. Read this highlighted one. Continue reading.
Continue.
Hmm.
From without he gives instructions are stated in Bhagavad Gita, and from within he tries to convince the living entity that his activities in the material field are not conducive to real happiness. Just give it up and turn your faith towards me. Then you will be happy, he says. Thus, the intelligent person who places his faith in the Paramatma or the Supreme Personality of Godhead begins to advance towards a blissful eternal life of knowledge.
Yeah,
Hare
this is
Krishna.
what I was saying. We should turn to Paramatma and then we'll be happy. Yeah. Someone else read this translation.
Yes.
If no one is there, I can continue, Prabhuji.
One who
I read
understands
Prabhuji.
this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity, and the interactions of the modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position.
Okay, so one who understands this philosophy, that Paramatma and Atma and nature, then his desire to be liberated will increase, and he won't take birth. Eventually, he will not take birth, and he will go back to God. Read the purport. Continue reading the purport.
Clear understanding of material nature, the soul, the super soul, the individual soul, and their interactions make one eligible to become liberated and turn to spiritual atmosphere without being forced to return to this material world, material nature. This is the result of knowledge. The purpose of knowledge is to understand distinctly that the living entity has by chance fallen into the material existence by his personal endeavor in association with authority, saintly persons, and a spiritual master. He has to understand his position and then revert to the spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness by understanding Bhagavad Gita as it is explained by the personality of Godhead. Then it is certain that he will never come again into this material existence. He will be referred into the spiritual world for the blissful eternal life of knowledge.
Okay, so we must have heard this statement, that you can feed the poor, but the best is if you educate them and teach them how to earn, then the poor won't remain poor, right?
Correct.
Similarly, if we get this knowledge, and if we get this knowledge from spiritual master, and we serve the spiritual master, and we realize this knowledge, then we won't remain in this material world in the same position that we are in. We will transcend, and we will go to the spiritual world, right?
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, someone read text 25.
Some
Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
some perceive the super soul within themselves through meditation, others through the cultivation of knowledge, and still others through working without fruitive desires.
Yeah, So ultimate point is that one should perceive the super soul, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So
Yes.
what are the other ways? One is through meditation. They meditate for long years, thousands of years, and then they see the super soul within the heart. How
But
does the
now
super soul look
this
like? How does the super soul look like?
Four-armed
Has four hands, Guruji.
Four-handed form of Krishna.
Na,
I mean Narayan, Vishnu.
Narayana.
Yeah.
Four-handed form of Vishnu. And according to the body, the super soul is said to be of the size of the thumb.
Hmm.
Okay. So how big the thumb is, that much big the
Yeah,
super soul will be.
very
But
small.
super soul is not like he will be big or something. He will be perceived as that much size.
Hmm.
But actually he is expansive, and he cannot be limited in that size. Okay, just the idea it is given.
Yeah.
Okay. And then others are through cultivation of knowledge. Like we are gaining this knowledge, then we understand. Okay. Then slowly we'll perceive. And then still others who are working without fruitive desires. Nishkam karma. So those who do Nishkam karma, they also start realizing the supreme. Why? Because then they start understanding that everything is ruled and controlled by the Supreme Lord. Hmm? And they are not interested in the fruits. They are offering the fruit back to the super soul. Continue reading this highlighted part.
Yes, Prabhuji. Those who are atheists, agnostics, and skeptics are beyond the sense of spiritual understanding. But there are others who are faithful in their understanding of spiritual life, and they are called introspective devotees, philosophers, and workers who have renounced fruitive results. Those who always try to establish the doctrine of monism are also counted among the atheists and agnostics. In other words, only the devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are best situated in spiritual understanding because they understand that beyond this material nature are the spiritual world and the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Okay. So, this monism is keep coming up in the chapter. And the reason for that is there are many so-called spiritual organizations where this monism is there and where they try to equate super soul and soul together.
Yes.
Hmm.
They should only be equated on quality platform, but not on quantity or superiority platform. Okay. So that's why Prabhupada is hammering here in the purport again and again. But actually, this monism is a different kind of atheist and agnostic.
So monism means the person they think that the super soul and soul are same.
Yes.
Okay.
And we think they are same only in quality, but not in.
Not in quantity.
Yeah, this we need to completely understand. Because otherwise, what happens is what is the further understanding by the monism? If you two are same, then you are that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Tattvamasi, aham
Yes.
brahmasmi, you are that. And then you are God.
Hmm.
You can become God, and
Hmm.
then failure happens. Why? Because we can never become God. If we were to become God, then something is greater that is stopping us to become God. So that thing is superior.
Hmm.
So such thing doesn't exist because we can never become God. So that's how their philosophy fail.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Continue reading this purport.
The Sankhya philosophers analyze this material world into 24 elements and they place the individual soul as the 25th item. When they are able to understand the nature of the individual soul to be transcendental to the material elements, they are able to understand also that above the individual soul there is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the 26th element. Thus, gradually, they also come to the standard of devotional service in Krishna consciousness. Those who work without fruitive results are also perfect in their attitude. They are given a chance to advance to the platform of devotional service in Krishna consciousness. Here it is stated that there are some people who are pure in consciousness and who try to find out the super soul by meditation, and when they discover the super soul within themselves, they become transcendently situated. Similarly, there are others who also try to understand the supreme soul by cultivation of knowledge, and there are others who cultivate the Hatha Yoga system and who try to satisfy the supreme personality of Godhead by childish activities.
Okay. So here Prabhupada describe, how the philosophers are trying to, understand the super soul. So Sankhya philosophers are those who use Sankhya. Basically, they count and they
Yeah.
ask whether this hand is the supreme, whether this eyes, what is it? And like this, they come slowly, slowly after many years, they come to this conclusion: the supreme Lord is the Paramatma.
Mhm.
Others are through, fruitive, without fruitive results. So Krishna is pleased with them because they are without fruitive results. So he gives them a chance to do some devotional service. Then there are others who do meditation, hatha yoga, meditation, and they try to see the supreme Lord within their heart. Now, where do we stand? Do we do any of this thing?
We do Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Okay.
We
And
devotional
do
service. I
give
mean,
prasadam.
Do
We
do
do.
we do we do we come into this, any of this?
No.
no.
I mean, little bit we come. We do little bit
Yeah.
meditation.
Yes. Yes.
We do cultivation of knowledge is there
Knowledge.
definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, but we do try to work without fruitive result desires. Yes,
Yes.
but there is something extra we do.
Chanting of Hare
We
Krishna.
Yeah,
chant.
we chant.
We
Yes, we chant the Hare Krishna Maha.
Krishna
We
Mahamantra.
do devotional service. I mean, we
Yes.
do service to the Lord, not
Ah,
just like.
chanting is service to the Lord.
No, no.
Service to
I'm
the
just
Lord.
saying that
And then we
three
give bhog
activities are
also.
there. No, that
Okay,
th-
okay. Hmm.
We
those.
give bhog.
So technically, we do devotional service,
Yes.
starting
Yes.
with chanting.
Yes.
Okay, and this is the verse Krishna is going to say about us. I will read. Again, there are those who are not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Lord upon hearing about Him from others. Because of the
Mm,
tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth. And so here
yes.
is where we stand. We hear about Krishna. We hear the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra.
Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
So it's 8:32. We'll stop and open for some questions or comments. Any question or comment?
Prabhu, just now we discussed that if I mean, that even if we are failing or anemical towards the Lord, I mean that failed something, right? I mean, so then also we have a chance to get promotion. But then sometimes back you told that we have to be
Oh,
friend with Krishna.
right.
Some
Okay,
this
good point. Good point. Okay. Uh, yes. So you told a very nice point, and we will go to our acharyas to understand.
yes,
See what really our acharyas want. See, as far as Krishna is concerned, right? Anybody
yes,
can approach him anyhow, and I will
yes,
tell you how others approach him. Like in Brahma Samhita, this verse is there. Um, ah, this particular yam krodh kam sahaja pranayad bhiti vatsalya moha guru gaurav seva bhavai sanchint tasya sadisham tanu apurete govindamadi purusham tamaham
tam
bhajami.
bhajami.
I adore the supreme lord, the meditators upon whom, of whom they are meditating, they are meditating on Govinda. How?
Yes,
By meditating upon him in the sphere of wrath. Wrath is what?
anger.
Anger, amorous passion, natural friendly love, parental affection, delusion, reverence, and willing service. Okay, so here the
Yes,
word wrath is used, anger is used. So there
yes,
are those who worship the supreme lord out of anger, and here the demons come, headed by Putana.
yes,
Hmm? Okay, as far as Krishna is concerned, he doesn't have issue.
yes,
See, sometimes child, as far as father is concerned, right, he doesn't have issue if the son is fighting with him.
Yeah.
Who has the issue?
Child.
No,
I mean,
mother has the issue.
okay,
What
mother.
she will do? She will stop and she'll say, this is
She'll
not
stop.
how
Don't
you have to
fight.
act
Yes.
to your father,
Right.
right? Okay.
Right.
So as far as Krishna is concerned, he doesn't have issue with wrath.
Right.
He doesn't have issue with delusion. Okay.
Right.
But it is the issue with the Vedas. Okay. Now what the
Yeah.
Vedas say, and what the Acharyas say. So where is nectar of devotion? Do you see nectar of devotion here? So in this, there is a definition of bhakti, and
Yeah.
that's the definition we are supposed to follow. Um, okay, let me check the purity, how to discharge devotional service, first stages of devotion. So there is a verse which says Anya Abhijrajta Shunyam Jnana Vairagyam
Jnana Karmadi
Jnana Kala.
Anam.
Yeah. I'm looking for that verse.
We can search there, Guruji.
Um,
Karmadi we can search with. Anavritam we can search.
let's search if it is ever given here. Anya Biladita Shunyam Anya. No.
Anukulyasya Krishna.
Anukulena Krishnanu Bhakti
Shilanam Bhaktir Uttama.
Anya. Let's see. Anya Biladita Shunyam. Let's see. Got it. Here the verse. 1:11. This is the definition that we have to follow as devotees.
Yes.
Anya Abhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukulyena Krishnanu. Anukulyena. It should
Yes.
be Anukul, it should not be Pratikul.
Yes.
See, as far as Krishna is concerned, Pratikul is fine with him.
Yeah.
But as far as Vedas and the Acharyas are concerned, they are saying no Pratikul, only Anukul,
Anukul.
which is favorable for Krishna. Krishnanu Sheelanam Bhakti Uttamam. That bhakti is topmost.
Yes.
Okay, one should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. This is called pure devotional service.
Pure devotional
Now,
service.
why it should be favorable? Because the result of unfavorable is wrath is not always favorable. See, Putana was the
Yes.
only one who was sent back home back to Godhead, right? Every other demon had to merge into the body of Krishna.
Yes.
So the goal is not achieved. Going back to Godhead is not achieved by Pratikul Bhakti.
Yes.
So therefore, Acharya say no, do Anukul Bhakti.
Yes.
And Bhakti should not be done for fruitive activities. Neither it should
Yes.
be done for philosophical speculation, for material profit. It should be selfless. It should be uninterrupted, unmotivated, like that. Okay, so this is what
Yes.
acharyas have said. This is the bhakti that we have to follow. Okay,
Yes.
does that make sense?
Yeah, Prabhuji. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
So, any last question, or we can close for the day? Okay, so no